In the hushed corners of the world where darkness unfolds, the unsuspecting, and fear takes root, there exists a figure that haunts the deepest recesses of the human mind, a terror that lurks in the realms of childhood nightmares and adult anxieties. The Boogeyman, an entity born from the collective dread of countless generations, forever shrouded in mystery and whispered about in hushed tones. When the moon casts its pale glow upon the land and the clock strikes midnight, the veil between the known and the unknowable grows thin. It is at this moment that the Boogeyman emerges from the shadows, a malevolent presence that defies comprehension. Cloaked in tattered garments that once exuded elegance, but now bear the stains of forgotten sins. The Boogeyman slithers through the darkness with an otherworldly grace, and his very essence reeking of despair. Within the confines of your closet where you believe safety resides, his presence lingers. As you nestle beneath the comforting embrace of your bedsheets, he waits silently, his eyes gleaming with anticipation of terror. The creaking floorboards, the rustling leaves against the window pane, and the whispered whispers that echo through the night, they are all but preludes to his arrival. He is the embodiment of every fear and phobia, manifesting in the most abhorrent forms conjured by your imagination. He knows your deepest secrets and your hidden desires and the vulnerabilities that lay dormant within your soul. With an insidious whisper, he calls your name, his voice a chilling melody that curdles the blood in your veins. The Boogeyman thrives on the unspoken, feeding on the tendrils of doubt that coil around your heart. He's the monster that defies reason, the terror that defies explanation. He exists not in the realm of flesh and bone, but rather in the darkest recesses of your mind, where nightmares dance and sanity teeters on the precipice of oblivion. Beware, for the Boogeyman knows no boundaries. He transcends time and space, slipping effortlessly from one victim to the next, leaving behind only shattered spirits and haunting memories. He is the ominous specter that haunts your dreams, the entity that lingers in the corners of your waking life. He is the Boogeyman. They call it the Boogeyman. In the deep alcoves of our collective nightmares lurks a figure that has haunted humanity for centuries. The Boogeyman, a sinister entity shrouded in darkness and mystery, has terrified children and adults alike with its chilling presence. But where did this malevolent being originate? What are its sinister origins? Join me as I embark on a journey to unmask the enigmatic Boogeyman and uncover the truth behind its haunting existence. It doesn't matter where you go on this planet, one thing that we all have in common is a tale about the Boogeyman. Depending on where you go, stories of this hideous thing or creature are somewhat different. In some places, he just messes with you, and in others, he can take you into the dark void of hell. Some of these stories were made up to frighten children, and other stories were made up centuries ago. So, is there any truth to any of these stories? Who knows? Some say the Boogeyman is a creature from another void or reality that likes to jump into ours to cause chaos. He feeds on fear and is able to gain power from the fear. that's how he's able to cross over into our realm. So could there be more to the bedtime and campfire stories? Who knows? From the dark folklore of different cultures to the whispered tales of bedtime stories, the haunting past of this malevolent entity is deeply rooted in our collective consciousness. These legends paint a picture of a creature that thrives on fear and preys upon the vulnerable. Let's explore the eerie origins of the boogeyman and unravel the spine-tingling myths that have kept us awake at night for centuries. Some cultures believe that it's a female entity and others a male. Some think it's just an entity that's devoid of physical body or reality and that it becomes whatever you fear the most. Whatever the case may be, most of us, if not all of us, at one point in time or another, were afraid of the boogeyman. Parents have been inventing stories about monsters to scare their children into obedience for centuries. It makes sense. Short of being held at gunpoint, a bloodthirsty demon is just about the only thing that's going to convince a 6-year-old to brush his teeth and go to bed before midnight. Some cultures, however, took this idea a bit too far and invented creatures that would make any grown man shit his pants. Around the world, millions of children are terrified each year by the idea of the boogeyman. Any bump in the night or scratch on their window pane sends them running in terror to sleep with their parents. The boogeyman terrifies children around the world into good behavior, or else. Who or what exactly is the boogeyman? The boogeyman is a mythical monster whose impact can be traced around the world. One of the first references to this legendary creature was found in the 1500s, though it was suspected that the boogeyman has existed much longer than this. It is thought that the boogeyman was originally a reference for mischievous creatures called hobgoblins. Throughout much of Europe, hobgoblins are actually quite friendly or limited to light-hearted pranks. But there are tales of hobgoblins who were much more vile in nature. These creatures were said to torment humans, sometimes to the point of frightening a person to death. There are hundreds of names for the boogeyman around the world, each with their own interesting twist. Because the boogeyman has such a large global impact, it's difficult to determine which country told the first tales of this monster. One thing for certain, the boogeyman loves to lurk in the shadows of the night, and its main victims are disobedient children who don't listen to their parents. Descriptions of the boogeyman vary from country to country, though there are a few similarities. The majority of boogeymen are some sort of spirit or entity that terrorize naughty children in the night. The boogeyman could strike for any number of reasons, ranging from anger towards children who leave things dirty to hunger for children who stay up past their bedtime. Many boogeymen are said to have long nails or claws that they use to scratch against the window panes in the middle of the night. There are also tales of boogeymen who have terrifying eyes that haunt children who venture outside after dark. Some boogeymen are said to have horns or look very animal-like, while others are told to be evil humanoids or witches. In the United Kingdom, it is thought that the boogeyman could have originally been a description of a boogeyman-like creature. The boogeymen were responsible for picking up the dead, especially when the Black Plague was devastating Europe. Because of their contact with the dead, they were often very sick themselves and had skeleton-like figures with sunken eyes. Other boogeymen that have no appearance or figure are said to not have the ability to shapeshift. They can appear as the tree limb scratching against your window, or simply present themselves as a terrifying shadow lurking underneath your bed. Perhaps one of the most interesting features of the boogeyman is its ability to exist in the folklore of hundreds of countries while having very few physical similarities. The boogeyman's ability to blend and adapt to many cultures lead many to think of the boogeyman as a type of spirit. The boogeyman, while mysterious, is best understood through its motivations. The boogeyman is primarily fixated on children, though there are myths in some countries that suggest the boogeyman will seek out anyone who is guilty of wrongdoing. Regardless of what age group a particular boogeyman goes after, it seems to be a common theme that the boogeyman will not attack those who are considered to be good. There are many variations on why the boogeyman preys on its victims. Most versions of the boogeyman will come after children if they have been naughty and disobeyed their parents in some way. These boogeymen have a wide range of punishment that they choose from. Some boogeymen will only give children terrifying reminders like scratching on their window panes at night, appearing as a shadow that lurks in their bedroom, or chasing them when they have wandered away from home in the middle of the night. Other boogeymen are more sinister, making it even more important for children to mind their parents' instructions. These boogeymen have a taste for naughty children and will often sneak into their rooms to carry them away into the night. These children are often never found and are said to be eaten by the boogeyman. There is also a strange category of boogeymen who do not come after children simply for being naughty. These boogeymen often serve as a strange sort of protector, even though they tend to have terrifying appearances. There are also boogeymen who don't discriminate the age of their target. They just simply attack the guilty. In the Semarang area of central Java, there lurks a boogeyman who strikes fear into the heart of children and parents alike, the Wiwi Gombo. This strange boogeyman is said to be a spirit that seeks both vengeance and acceptance. Although the Wiwi Gombo spirit is evil in nature, it doesn't harm children. Instead, she kidnaps children that are being neglected or abused and hides them from their parents until she feels the parents have learned their lesson. Even though she takes her vengeance out on the parents, she is feared by children as well for her strange habits. It is said that any child unfortunate enough to be kidnapped by the Wiwi Gombo is forced to eat feces until they are allowed to return home. And how is that fair to the child? El Coco, also known as the Coco Man, is known to strike fear into the hearts of many Hispanic and Latino children. This strange beast is not known to have specific appearance, but is instead thought to be a shapeshifter that is terrible to look at. In some regions, the Coco Man is thought to have the power to transform into the thing that a child fears the most. El Coco climbs onto the roofs of children who disobey their parents and wait until they fall asleep. It is then that El Coco sneaks into the room of the naughty child and kidnaps them for its next meal. Barbaroka is a Croatian boogie woman that has a deep hunger for disobedient children. This boogie woman is said to be an ugly old woman with horns atop her head. She stalks her prey at night and takes them back to her dark hiding place where she devours them. Barbaroka is thought to carry a bag that she uses to drag children away into her lair, which is often a cave. Sometimes she preys on children who venture out too late at night, while other times she is said to reach down through the cracks in the ceiling just to grab her prey. Tata Duende comes to us from Latin America and is most prominent in Mayan and Mestizo folklore. This boogeyman has backwards feet and is missing his thumbs, which gives him an odd fixation on the thumbs of humans, especially human children. It is said that Tata Duende, which translates roughly to Grandfather Goblin, is the protector of the jungle. However, he can also be very mischievous at times. If Tata Duende finds a naughty child, he will lure them into the jungle and try to bite off their thumbs. The Namahage is a Japanese demon who preys on children who are disobedient, lazy, or prone to crying. The Namahage is known to steal crops and disobedient children during the New Year. They are known to roam city streets during the night, calling out, "Are there any crybabies?" Luomo Nero is typically portrayed as a man dressed in all black that haunts disobedient children in the eastern Mediterranean area. This boogeyman is often said to wear a hood or hat that hides his face. The Luomo Nero comes to kidnap children who disobey their parents, and unlike other boogeymen, he doesn't eat them. Instead, he takes them to a frightening place to live with him for a year. Old Rodogan, also known as Old Red Eyes, is thought to be a shape-shifting cannibal who preys on young children. It is thought that the form of this beast was most likely to appear in that of a black dog with red eyes. The night hag is an evil spirit thought to cause sleep paralysis and nightmares. This spirit is an old woman who preys on fear and nightmares of her victims. She sits on the chest of her victims while they sleep, causing them to have difficulty sleeping and enter into a disturbing dream state. The Jumbi is an evil human spirit that comes back to haunt the living in Caribbean folklore. While similar to ghosts, Jumbis differ in that they cast a dark black shadow instead of appearing as a wispy figure. These spirits are malevolent and they will target anyone. In the dead of the night, when the moon cowers behind a blanket of clouds and the wind whistles a melancholy tune, a shroud of silence descends over the house. It's a silence that claws at the edge of your sanity, making your heartbeat seem like a deafening drum echoing through the vast emptiness. It is then in the heart of this unrelenting silence that he awakens, the boogeyman. He isn't just a creature of the night. He's its grand master, its king. He doesn't just live in the darkness. He is the darkness. He's not just under your bed. He's in your head, lingering presence that feeds on your deepest, darkest fears. His kingdom begins at the foot of your bed, beneath the surface where innocence sleeps and nightmares are kept at bay. The wooden planks creak ever so slightly, a sigh of the beast stirring from his slumber. It's a sound that slices through the silence, winding its way into your dreams. The boogeyman is awake. He begins to crawl, a slow, deliberate movement. The floor beneath your bed trembles, each shutter an indication to his monstrous size. In the pitch black, he's nothing more than a silhouette, a formless entity that is everywhere and nowhere at the same time. His voice, a sibilant whisper slithering through the cracks of your consciousness, a serpentine lullaby that fills your mind with creeping dread. I'm here, he hisses, a promise and a threat all at once. His words don't just echo in your ears, they echo in your thoughts, dancing in the shadows of your mind. A cold gust of wind brushes against your cheek, a chilling caress from the boogeyman himself. Then the room plunges into an even deeper darkness, the kind that envelops your senses and swallows your courage whole. The darkness isn't just around you, it's in you. This is the boogeyman's hour, the time when the night itself holds its breath, waiting its reign. It's the time when the boogeyman crawls from under your bed and into your head, reminding you why the darkness is something to be feared. But remember, he isn't just a creature of your imagination. He's the embodiment of your fear, a dark sentinel who rules the night and haunts your dreams. He is the boogeyman, the king of shadows, the terror that lurks in the corner of your eye, and he's waiting, always waiting.